What's up, guys? Welcome back. For those of you who've been following my vlog of my week-long trip out in Vegas, I really appreciate it. As I mentioned before, a really big bonus for me is chatting with you guys down below in the comments. I try to get to everybody as fast as I can, but if I can't, just know I'll get to it eventually, I promise. One quick announcement before we get started. I'm gonna be back in Vegas on these dates or these dates over here. I'm gonna be there for 3 days this time. So if you guys are in town and you want to get together, play some cards, just hit me up either on here or on my Instagram at Gaines Poker, and we'll set that up. Just a quick appreciation video, just saying thanks to everybody out there that's watching. It's really making this a fun experience for me. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Some people just can't handle Vegas. Nah, my little brother and his friends actually came down for a concert. They got in late the night before and I guess partied all night. So while most of the city is sleeping, recovering from the night before, not us. We grab our bag and head out for the day to do something a little different. We're here at a relatively new location out on the strip. If you can tell by the casino, yep, it's the Resorts World. I played here a few times before when it first opened up, and I really liked my experience. Super clean, super chill poker room, the chairs are comfortable, so what's not to like? What's up, guys? Before we start this video, I'm gonna tell you a hand that happened last night. I know I said it was the end of day 4, but I happened to go to the Bellagio again. Sat down at 5-5. I didn't even know they had a 5-5. I just thought it was 2-5, 500 max buy-in, but I was like, oh, we have a 5-5. It's 400 to 1,000 max. I was like, all right, let's do it. So started with 1,000, played for a couple hours. There wasn't really too many interesting spots. I think I caught a pair, 2 pair, the very highest. But yeah, one hand I want to go over. I had ace-10 offsuit in the big blind, I believe. Just a raise and I complete. The flop comes king 10-3, 2 clubs, and so I flop middle pair, and the initial aggressor raises or bets, and I call, the other guy calls. The turn was an ace, so we had aces and 10s, and yeah, long story short, I mean, I didn't even want to go over it, to be honest, but we had 2 pair, and he actually hit an open ender on the flop. So he hit Broadway with that ace on the turn. Got it all in, and yeah, couldn't catch my 4-outer to hit a boat. So, oh well, 1,000 down in that session. But all in all, day 4, won at the Horseshoe, lost at the Bellagio. I mean, I was more disappointed that it shouldn't have happened. I mean, it was tired. It was like past 1 a.m. and just shouldn't have happened. So I blame it on being tired. So yeah, don't play cards when you're tired. When you've been playing all day, just go home, get some rest, and get a good night's sleep and do it again in the morning. But yeah, about to hop into this tournament. So let's see what happens. I'm not really a tournament player, but hey, let's see what we can do. If you guys want to see how the entire hand played out, go and check out my last video I posted a few days ago. We've been bouncing around back and forth throughout this trip and been playing mostly cash games, but I know some of you guys like tournaments, so we decided to hop in one today. At most casinos, they have daily tournaments going on morning, afternoon, and night, and at Resorts World, it's no different. We decided to play the noon $200 buy-in, 5,000 guaranteed, try our luck, and see what the tournament streets have to offer. A lot of different strategies go into tournaments compared to cash games. Not an expert by any means, but I'll be sharing a few tips here and there throughout the video. At the start of tournaments, I think it's beneficial to get involved early and often while the blinds are still low. Opening up that range just a little bit so you can see more hands. Not go super crazy and blow your whole stack, but just get in the mix. Wanting to get involved, but the first level flies by and we don't get any playable hands. Start of the second level now, the blinds are at 100, 200, 200. We have Jack 8 of clubs in the cutoff. Folds around to me, we make it 300, blinds call, and 3 ways to a flop. The flop comes Jack 3-8 rainbow. First hand getting some action, and we flop top 2. Not bad. Blinds check to me. I down bet to 200, wanting to keep their entire range in. Backdoor straight, backdoor flush, some overs. Just trying to get a call by anything. Plan is working thus far. They both call. The turn is a 2, full rainbow. They both check again. There's 1500 in the middle, and I make it 6. Only the small blind makes the call. The river is a 9 of diamonds. Not really worried about anything. Only thing that gets there is 10-7 and queen 10 for a straight. He checks for a third time, so we come up with a sizing of little over a third pot and throw 1100 in the middle. He calls, we show our 2 pair, and we win. Getting 3 streets of value and feeling comfortable the whole way is a plus. This hand we're in the small blind, still on the same level. Blinds at 100, 200, 200. We have king jack offsuit. The under the gun 2 makes it 600. The hijack calls, I call, and the big blind gets out of the way. 3 ways to a flop, and the flop comes jack of clubs, 7 of clubs, 2 of spades. We have top pair, but we're out of position, so we check in flow, and it checks around. So still 3 ways. The turn is a 5 of clubs. The front door flush comes in, but I feel like if either of them had a flush draw, they would have bet out on the flop. So I lead for 800, putting some money in the middle before any other scare cards come on the river. The initial raiser gets out of the way, but the hijack makes the call. The river pairs the middle card. It's a 7 of spades. I check on this card, hoping she bets out with her busted draws. But sadly, she checks back. And she showed ace king with the ace of clubs. The exact hand I was trying to target, the nut flush draw. But she didn't want to bluff at it at the end.
What?
I thought she was going to bet with a nut blocker.
Oh, yeah.
I know I would.
Yeah.
As I'm making this vlog, this hand is actually a little bit of foreshadowing for later. You'll know what I'm talking about when it comes up. This next hand, the blinds are still at 100, 200, 200. We have pocket 7s in the low jack. Folds around to me, I make it 700. Only the big blind makes the call. So heads up to a flop, and it comes queen of diamonds, 5 of diamonds, 6 of spades. Only 1 card higher than our pair, so feeling pretty good about it. He checks, we make it 1000. He calls, the turn is a 10 of hearts, another card higher than our pair. So when he checks to us, we pot control, check back. The river is an offsuit 9, so another card higher than our pair. So really not beating much now. When he checks, there's really not much to do. I check back. I say 7s, and he mucks, saying that if a 7 would have came on the river, there would have been some fireworks. So maybe he had something like 8-4 diamonds or 3-4 suited of some sort. Who knows? But can't complain, taking down another pot. Second level, yet again, we have ace-9 offsuit in the cutoff. There's 1 limper in middle position. I raise to 800, and they all fold. In tournaments, it's vital to take down blinds when you can, in position, cutoff, button, position, position, position. Moving on to the third level, the blinds are at 200, 300, 300. And when I'm talking about the blinds, the last number is a big blind ante. So the small blind is 200, the big blind is 300, plus another 300. So technically 600. Just for reference, if some of you guys were confused on that. We have ace-queen offsuit in the small blind. The middle position makes it 1000. Folds around to me, and out of position, we're gonna bump it up. We make it 2.5K. Big blind folds, and the initial raiser makes the call. Heads up to a flop, out of position, and it comes ace-5-9 with 2 spades. I c-bet, I make it 2000, and he quickly raises to 6000. It kind of pauses me for a little bit, but we have top pair, decent kicker, so we make the call. Turn pairs the board, it's a 5 of clubs. I check to the aggressor, and he actually jams for 14,000. His line makes absolutely no sense, so I don't think much at all, and snap call. He shakes his head and gets up even before the dealer shows the river. He flips over 4-6 offsuit, and didn't matter what the river was because he was drawing dead. Picked the wrong time to try to make a move. Guy next to me asked if it was my birthday. Taking a second to process it all, I'm like, what? He said, because that guy just gave you a present. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess so. Even though it was a few months ago in June. Pretty much smooth sailing the first 3 levels, sitting with about 54,000 in our stack. We will definitely take that. A few hands later, we have pocket 7s again, this time in the hijack. Middle position makes it 700. I call, and the big blind goes all in for 20,000. Middle position folds, and I'm like, okay, sir, calm down. It wasn't that serious. You can have it. Like slowly backing up while I'm surrendering. Already less than an hour in, there's been some questionable play. Let's just put it that way. Blind still at 200, 300, 300. We have Queen Jack suited in the low jack. Folds to me, I make it 1,000, and only the small blind makes the call. Flop is King 9-2 with 2 clubs. Only have Queen high, but we're still loving this board. Looking to get some money in the middle. He checks, I see bet, 1.1k. But he has nothing to continue with, he folds. But the blinds creep up pretty fast. So as the blinds go up, you have to adjust your play style a little bit. On to level 4, the blinds are at 200, 400, 400. We're in the big blind, so we already have 400 in the blind and 400 in the middle for the ante. The under the gun makes it 800. Folds around to me, we have King Jack offsuit. We defend, and the flop comes King of diamonds, Queen of hearts, 10 of diamonds. Top pair with open-ended straight draw, but out of position. We check and flow, and he checks back. The turn is an 8 of clubs, doesn't change anything. We decide to lead on this card, 1.4k. He calls. The river's kind of a bad card, it's an offsuit queen. Flush draws miss, and only thing I'm really concerned of is him having a queen. Because if he had a king or better, he's probably not checking the flop, but he can definitely pot control and check back a queen, middle pair on the flop. So I check, looking to call any reasonable size bet, but he checks back, and knowing we have the winner, we show, and he mucks. Same level, blinds 200, 400, 400. We're in the small blind this time, with pocket sixes. There's 3 limps to me, and definitely not wanting to go super multi-way with this hand. We bump it up to 2,000. Folds around to the low jack, and she actually jams for 15,000. Folds back around to me, and I'm thinking maybe she's doing this with ace something suited, hopefully something like ace 5 suited, ace 4 suited, or heck, even a pair smaller than mine. Something that she doesn't really feel too comfortable battling in the streets with. Because once the chips are in the middle, the game of poker kind of ends. Then the cards just decide the winner. I'm sitting with a decent stack, and in these tournaments, can't really play scared, because again, the blinds will catch up to you. Not looking just to min cash, we're trying to take this tournament down, so we call, and I'll let you guys sweat the run out. Nice hand. Did not expect someone to limp kings, and the chips go in the wrong direction. Also, remember what I said earlier about foreshadowing? This was the same player that limped ace-king offsuit and checked back the river when she had the nut flush blocker. All right, we're at break number 1. Got it in with sixes against kings. I mean, what are you really gonna do? Limp kings, I mean, I don't know, nice hand. But in these tournaments, you gotta get it in, can't be scared, and yeah, but still playing really well. I think we won every single hand that we put in money, so can't complain. But blinds are going up, I think 300, 600, 600, so gonna see a lot more all-ins very soon. So let's try to run it up and let's run deep. Let's do this. So right after break number 1, we're still sitting at around 40,000 in our stack, so still doing pretty good. First hand we get involved in after break, the blinds are at 300, 600, 600. We're on the button with King Jack of diamonds. Early position makes it 1.4k. Next to act calls, and I raise to 4k. They both make the call, so 3 ways to a flop in position. The flop is king high with 2 spades. They both check to me, I make it 6k, and they fold. Probably would have made it the same amount even if I didn't hit a pair, but it's always less nerve-wracking betting for value than betting with air. The very next shuffle, we have pocket 4s in the cutoff. The hijack makes it 1.3k. I make the call, and small blind calls as well. 3 ways in position again. To a flop of 995 rainbow. Really safe board for us. Small blind checks the aggressor. The hijack makes it 1.2k. I call, and the small blind folds. Turn is probably one of the worst cards for me. It's the ace of clubs. If he was stabbing with ace king, ace queen, ace jack, he now has top pair. Even if he doesn't have those holdings, he can still represent like he does, because this card is way better for his range than it is mine. He continues for 6.5k, and we're kind of just in no man's land, to be honest. So we just let it go and move on to the next hand. On to level 6 now. The blinds are at 400, 800, 800. And this is around the time where tournaments, especially smaller tournaments, get a little bit funky for me, where it's less about actually playing poker and more so about who has the better cards going in pre-flop and who can hold. Because even having a starting stack of 25k, with an $800 big blind. That's really only 30 big blinds. And at this point, there was a lot of people with even less chips than starting stack. We're in under the gun and we have ace deuce of clubs. We make it 2,000. Only the button makes the call. So heads up to a flop. The flop comes king, king, 5 with 1 club. I check, see what he wants to do. And he decides to bet 2,000. It's a small bet and we have backdoor potential. So we make the call. The turn is a jack of clubs. So we do get one of our backdoors. We have the nut flush draw. I check again and he checks back. So free card to a river and it pairs the board. It's a jack of spades. I lead on this card for 4,000 and he raises to 10,000, thinking that we have the same hand with our ace kicker and he's just trying to get me off a chop. Or he could have got counterfeited with a smaller pocket pair and the only way for him to win is for him to raise. With 24,000 in the middle, getting 4 to 1, only need to be right 20% of the time for this call to be profitable. I throw in the extra chips and he flips over king, queen offsuit. A full house is gonna take it down. We're back down to about starting stack at this point, so still in it, but need to make something happen. We're in the low jack with ace 9 of hearts. Folds around to me, I make it 2K. Only the button calls, so heads up to a flop, and it comes 6 of diamonds, 4 of diamonds, 3 of spades. Absolutely nothing going on for us, not even backdoor, nothing. But a 6 high board shouldn't hit his hand calling on the button. So I c-bet, representing overpairs, and make it 2K, a third pot. He folds and we take it down. Gotta be thankful for the small ones. This hand, still on the same level, the blind's at 400, 800, 800. We have queen, jack of diamonds in the small blind. Folds around to the button, he makes it 2K. I make the call, throwing out 1,600 more. And the big blind calls as well. 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes queen, 5, 8, all spades. I check in flow, as I would most of my holdings. The big blind checks as well. The button makes it 3K. We make the call to see what develops on the turn. And the big blind calls as well. So still 3 ways to a turn. The turn comes at 3 of diamonds. Super safe card. If we were ahead on the flop, we should still be ahead on the turn. I still check in flow. The big blind follows. And the initial raiser, the button, makes it 5K. We have about 22K in our stack. And like I said, if we were ahead on the flop, we still should be ahead on the turn. So we jam, putting pressure on any other queen holding or any hand containing a spade. Because not really looking to call, especially with the player behind. And if any spade comes on the river, then we're kind of just done. So taking that initiative, denying equity, expecting the big blind to fold, but she doesn't, she actually calls. And in my head, I'm like, frick. As soon as she calls, I just know I'm behind. I don't know by what, but I know I'm behind. By her calling, it actually makes the button tank for a really long time. I'm like, no, please fold. I can't go up against 2 opponents. 1, yes. 2, no. He finally folds. So I'm like, all right, 1 down, hoping that this opponent is on her draw. But when we flip, we see that we are drawing dead. She flopped a flush. So no chance on this one. Maybe if a scare card came on the turn, like an ace, king, or a spade, could have got away from it. But it was a total brick, and yeah, try to make something happen.
Bummer, ran into it. Was hoping they just had a high spade, honestly. Thinking I was good with my top pair, but got it in. I only had about 28K, so under starting stack. And what are you gonna do? So only a couple $100, $200 tournament, but it was fun. Played for 3 hours, and now gonna hop into either 1-3 or 2-5. I was hoping the 5-10, but they said they don't usually, like it doesn't usually run as often. It's usually scheduled, so I mean, hopefully 2-5 at least. But yeah, gonna play some cash. Let's get after it.